Hey everyone, welcome to Journey to the Story. And today we're talking about Blade, and it's me, Richard Graham, Lizzo Graham, and Matthew Jones.
Yo, what up?
What's going on? What's going on, folk?
All right, we're gonna be talking about Blade and like how it affected the Marvel industry, and we're gonna give our thoughts and explain like our goals for our own characters and things like that. And especially like since it's October, talk about the creepy things that go bump in the night.
Let's do it.
So, what are y'all thoughts on like how Blade made Marvel somewhat successful with like doing other comic books as movies?
I think if it wasn't for Blade, the rest of them wouldn't exist, because like Blade was the one that started, was like you're saying, was the one that started Marvel being able to see the value in it. And if it wasn't for Wesley and a couple other people, it wouldn't have happened, because Blade was, the first one was really good, but it got like better when it came out on video. Like it was in the movie theaters and it did a little something, but then once we were able to actually like see it on video and DVD and everything, it just blew up. And then the same thing with the second one. Third one, not so much. But the first and the second one, I was like, man, that meant a lot. And I was in high school watching it. And I remember when it came out, it was like, oh, okay, yeah, I have to see it such and such time. And then when I finally seen it, I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And to know that Wesley was talking about doing Black Panther and he was trying to come at them with that first, and they were like, no, we can't do that. Then he came up with Blade. It was just like, man, okay. But yeah, without Blade, there wouldn't be any of the other ones, because them other movies were trash. I remember like Nick Fury watching that on with David Hasselhoff, I believe, watching that on like Saturday mornings, and then like a weird Captain America movie, or maybe it was a Hulk episode. I don't remember.
There was a horrible Fantastic Four movie before the two horrible Fantastic Four, but that was like way more horrible.
Oh my God.
Like how the dying and stuff looked in that movie, like the super old Fantastic Four.
It was terrible. It was terrible. Oh my God. It makes me want to cry even thinking about those movies.
Yeah, they were rough.
It's funny because X-Men movies had a better run, but they still did not touch on the actual stories of the mutants and stuff.
Wait a minute, did X-Men come out before Blade? I thought it was. Wasn't it after?
I thought X-Men was before Blade.
I think it's after.
Because it's like X-Men is pretty old, I thought, but I could be wrong. Hold up, now you got me wanting to search.
but like, how bad Warner Brothers did Batman's like throughout like the old ones was like horrible too. That kind of made people not want to deal with comics either.
I mean, because like
bat nipples.
It's like the first two Batmans were good. They were cool. But I feel like with Blade, it was a thing where we got more of that raw superhero movie. Like it was him running through and killing vampires, and not the usual cheesy, goofy stuff. And it had some jokes and stuff, but it wasn't in the same vein as those other movies. It was like, if you didn't even know who Blade was, you knew who Wesley Snipes was, and you watched the movie, you'd be like, oh man, okay, Wesley Snipes is a half vampire killing vampires. Okay, this is cool. I can get with this. Like, you would just look at it as a regular martial arts film. It wasn't like Marvel. Like, we knew who it was, because even when we were young, it's like, we know some of the comic books, even if you did or didn't know full on everything about Blade. But the thing about it was this: the movie was good. Even if you took off the Marvel part, and it was still Blade, I'd still be like, this movie is good.
You know, the funny thing is, like my first interaction with Blade was from the Spider-Man animated series. And then, like, since it was so, like some time in between that, I didn't think about it. It didn't recognize in my mind when I first heard of Blade as a movie. I was like, what the heck is Blade? Like, I just remember I walking into my sister's house and she's playing Blade. I'm like, what's this? I'm like, oh snap! Yeah, I want to sit down and watch this. And then, like afterwards, I connected the dots. I'm like, wait a minute, Blade was on Spider-Man. I'm like, this is a Marvel like. This is a Marvel like comic character. So it blew my mind. Like especially like him being a black character too. I would have never thought that they would even try doing a character like that as a main character. So I watched that movie like several times over and over.
Yep. Over and over.
Blade was that movie, man. That's right.
I tell people, I'm sure everyone can agree that 1 and 2 is like the only good one. I didn't talk about third one.
Yeah.
I don't know how they went that way, but you know.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, so after I went and Googled.
Yeah, Blade 1998 and.
Okay, but according to Google, Iron Man was the first Marvel movie made. I don't see how.
Wait a minute. Really?
Yes, yeah, because it was the first like Marvel Studios thing.
Yeah.
So
Blade wasn't even a Marvel movie. I think that was Sony, maybe, or dang, I gotta dig deeper now. But yeah, it was the first for us though, like for us looking at a black superhero. But I would say most people would challenge that response with Meteor Man. A lot of people like to say Meteor Man was the first black superhero. But for me, it was more comedy. It wasn't like serious action. So I look at Blade as the first black superhero movie. But a lot of people like challenge me with Meteor Man. So I don't know how y'all feel about that.
So not to cut off what you just said though, but I just looked up and the first Iron Man movie came out in 2008.
Yeah.
Blade came out in 1998.
Yeah.
So how
it wasn't like Marvel. Damn, I'm stuttering this shit.
It's cool.
Iron Man came out. It was the first one that Marvel Studios, like the whole MCU thing. That's the first Marvel Studios one that came out. So that's why they say Iron Man.
Okay. I get
so
really,
are you gonna really try to challenge me on that? Really?
No, but because when you said that, it made me feel like so. Because I hear people arguing, and some people like Blade did not make it where Marvel thought about doing Marvel comics.
Yeah, that's. Wait. Weren't we supposed to be looking at? Did Blade come out before the X-Men movies, which I thought it did?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When I did the research, it never said anything about the timing for Blade and X-Men. It just brought up Iron Man versus Blade.
No, yeah, that's what I was gonna say earlier. I was like, Blade is 1998, and X-Men came out in 2000.
Oh, I thought 2001. Yeah, 2000.
Okay, I stand corrected on that then.
But still, it was a thing where like Blade was still the one that got all of that rolling. Now they came out with X-Men and it went down a whole goofy cheesy route, but
Oh yeah.
I mean, it is. Blade was still the one. And then as far as like black superhero thing, like we were just talking about, for me, there were a few black superheroes. Cause it was like I understand Meteor Man, I understand Blade. There was Mantis that came out like on Fox or something. It was like, I
saw my brother that one day. Oh my god!
Yeah, so it was a bunch of them, and I was watching everyone that came out, especially if it was a black person. Everyone that came. This is why, like when it comes to these things, for me, I'm like, I watched all of this stuff, good, bad, ugly. I watched like this New Mutant show that came out, that Generation X.
Oh my god!
It came out horrible. I watched.
Oh man!
Yeah,
I hated it.
Man. Blade. I'm like, I've watched all this Marvel, like the X-Men. I've watched all this stuff. So when people talk about you complain or you, yes I do. Yes I do. I have every right to complain. I done paid, gave time, all this other shit. I'm gonna talk crazy.
Yeah,
about
some of this stuff.
You're not gonna tell me not to complain. But what I'm saying is, I think. I guess you can go with Meteor Man, but Lizzo, I kind of agree with you. It's like Meteor Man was a movie, but I was bad, Robert Townsend just doing like a comedy or something.
Yeah,
I think of it as a full-on like this is a superhero movie that's going to be something that we can just promote from here on out.
They didn't take it serious. So
yeah. And I know
for me, Blade was took seriously.
And that's how I feel. It's like Wesley put the time into it, and he took it serious. And I mean, even in comparison,
y'all just made me think about something I want to look up.
Go ahead,
real quick.
And so even with like, it was like Meteor Man was cool, but we knew Robert Townsend as a comedian that made movies that was good at like doing grassroots movies and getting them out to us. I didn't think of Robert Townsend as like a superhero. I like to this day I know who Meteor Man is, but I don't think of him as like he's a legit superhero. No matter what they say he can do. Like I don't think about it because I didn't see him do anything consistently enough to be like, oh my god, I think of him in that
and
arena.
If they did take him seriously, right, he would have been an OP superhero. OP.
Hey guys,
yep.
You want to know what came out before Blade, though?
Oh, God.
It's not a great movie, but it got a black leading character.
And what was it?
Spawn. It came out a year right before Blade.
I'm sorry, I meant to say ninja. But anyway.
It is what it is. But I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem with Spawn other than like the crazy effects.
Clown? Was it a clown?
No, I didn't mind that. It was just like the special effects were a little wonky.
Oh yeah.
But the movie, like I went back and I watched it, and I was like, I actually don't have a problem with this movie. It moved. The only thing is like it moves a little fast, and the special effects is off. Other than that, I like it.
Yeah.
Like the funny thing,
I'm glad you brought that up though, Pat. I mean, what? About Spawn, like I totally forgot about Spawn. Like, and I watched that movie like a million times. Like,
dude, I watched the animated version like way more though. Like,
HBO, yes.
I just remember like accidentally staying up all night and running into it on HBO or whatever it was.
The Spawn animation series is so good.
Yeah,
good.
That was good. That was good. But it was just I think the thing was just Blade stood out to most folks because it was put together so well. Because and with what Wesley focusing on that martial arts aspect of Blade and stuff, because it was a thing where it's like for the most part it's like you can do something with vampires and usually it'll be pretty solid. Like and I think Blade was easier to put together because they didn't focus too much on like the special effects. They didn't have all it was Wesley doing martial arts and killing folks and having Blade talk a little bit, and that was it. And that's all we needed. And I feel like they started taking that away from a lot of the black superheroes. For instance, like Blade will always stand out to all of us for the most part, like we said, especially that first one. But because it was him killing vampires and that's it, right? Like the thing about it, like the problem with even people that came after, nobody that I could be wrong. So hopefully y'all can catch it and tell me that I'm wrong. But I don't feel like there's been a black superhero that has put in as much work as Blade has done. Like without special effects, without some super suit and all that other stuff. That was the thing that really got us with Blade, because it was that time when we were coming out of like 80s, late 90s, where there was a bunch of like action films and stuff. And we have this one, and Wesley came from that, you know, like Art of War, Passenger 57, all that martial arts stuff.
Oh man, I love him in the Demolition Man as a villain.
Yeah, that too.
I love it. Like he was the best part about Demolition Man.
Boy, I love that movie. That was one of my favorite movies by Wesley Snipes.
And so Wesley was always like showing, like he was showing that his physical ability, martial arts ability and stuff. Now you don't see that much more with any superheroes and stuff. Especially the black ones, because that's what. And the thing about it was I could be wrong. In the 70s and 80s, with a lot of the black superheroes, they were more street level. And they were putting hands on folks. Like Luke Cage and everybody, they were putting hands on people. So they didn't have all these over the top powers or anything, but they were known for putting hands on folks. When Luke Cage came out, it's like I liked it and I watched it, but the thing about it was like I felt like that Luke was just they played all this, like, give me Luke Cage busting folks over the head in fights. Like, I know he's more of a brawler, but you made Daredevil a whole monster in the hallway with putting his hands on folks, but then Luke Cage is just like this big, I don't like my powers, Negro. Like, I'm like, I know, right? You took, and Blade wasn't that. Blade didn't talk about race or nothing. It didn't talk about any of that. And that's not a problem. We don't need that, right? We just need this black person to be in there and showing that they can be on the same levels as everybody else. And I feel like with the black superheroes, because that's what they were, where a lot of them were more street level. They weren't these big galactic spacefaring folks that's doing all this wild stuff. There's a few, but they weren't that. And then with the ones that are that, they take it away. So that's why Blade always stands out, because Blade today is better than Luke Cage and what they did recently. Blade yesterday, Blade from back in the day is better than Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Oh yeah,
pretty much.
But
it kind of remind me of Blue Marvel. How when in the they talked about, they had a whole series where they talked about how he met Captain America, and in the comic books it brought up a lot of race stuff, but the majority.
You talking about when Iron Man went Lucas?
Yeah, and in the comments, right, they try to bring up his race and how when people found out he was black, they discarded him and stuff like that. But that's what made me a fan of Captain America, because in that series, Captain America came out and he stood up for Blue Marvel and said, well, do it matter what color his skin is? He's still doing what a hero or a patriot supposed to do. And you know what I mean?
See, and
so
that's
what made me think about it.
And I talked to Kevin Revolt. I always hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I talked to him about that last year at Black Comic Day. And my thing, and for me, I'm just like, dude, if we're gonna have these issues of race with a black person, and this is kind of going off track, but it's the same thing where it's like either we gonna talk about race, or we're not going to. And it's like I would prefer, for me, I would prefer them not talk about race if they're not going to, like in Blade, where we're not talking about it much. Like, somebody can make some little jokes or whatever, or they can call each other names. Okay, whatever. Like, that's whatever. But to try to go in depth about it, if you're going to talk about it, and it's just going to be this, and I'm in a comic book. For me, this is just me. This ain't, and we're in the comic book universe. if your answers are going to be the same thing that lead to Black people being in messed up positions, I don't want it. Like I just don't, because we're in this whole fantasy universe, and what you're telling me is that Black people still got to be jacked up, messed up, beat up, low on the rung, even in the comic book universe or in these fantasy realms, to where these heroes don't know what to do. There ain't nothing they can do about it. They can't do nothing about anything when it comes to the issues that's happening with Black folks. So what's the point of talking about it? Like you just trying to use something, because like when you look at
you got a point.
Like what they did with the new Spawn, like that new Spawn story, it really rubbed me the wrong way.
I've only heard a little bit about it, but before I get back to Blade, it's kind of like with Jewish people, and I respect how they've done things, and I look at how they've done things, and it's inspiring to me, because when it comes to people like, I believe, and I could be wrong again. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Somebody will correct me. One of the fans, somebody will correct us. A commenter will. Superman was from, I believe they were when comics first started, it was a lot of Jewish writers and artists. They were making these stories to talk about the things that they had came from, and to give their people type like heroes and everything, so that we can show we're not going to let this thing happen again. We're not going to be a part of this. We're not going to let these things happen, whether it's Superman, Captain America, that sort of thing, all this sort of stuff. And to me, I respect it, because when it comes to issues with them, it's not a thing where we can't do nothing about it. That's just the way it is, man. Well, I don't know, man. I don't want no part of it. I don't want to be that superhero, because that's what Blue Marvel did. I just want to be a regular superhero. Okay, I'm gonna go off to space and hide. It's like, come on, you know what Black folk going through, but you just say, you know what, I'm gonna go off and hide somewhere. But Superman don't do that. Superman
was crazy.
Superman from another planet and stuff going on, and he's like, yo, I'm gonna handle that. And so these Jewish people, they've put it in there where it's like, even in our fantasy stories, either our people are going to be better, in a better position, or we're going to be fighting, taking heads off of these people. And of anybody that's coming at our, and it might be allegories, it might be metaphorical, or all sorts of type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? But they put that in there. If Black folks, if we're not going to actually if we're not going to uplift and even make Black people in a better position in a comical fantasy realm, then it's like, just leave it out and let's not even talk about it. And just like the whole Blade thing, it's like, let's just leave it there and let the movie speak for itself. As a Black person, he doing his thing, he's showing that he on the level with everybody else, and let's keep it rolling. But if it's gonna be the same thing that it is in real life, what do I need that for? Like, I don't need that in a fantasy realm. I don't need that. That's just me.
Okay, let me ask this question then, like, because I'm listening to what you're saying. What would be a better approach that a writer or artist could take concerning that matter?
For me, now we're going into what we would do, since we all got our own projects, stuff like that.
Yeah.
For me,
I'm trying to learn, bro.
For me, I would do something to where either I'm not mentioning race, like I said, to where it's just Black folks going on adventures, Black folks doing the same thing everybody else is doing. We the leaders in space. We flying around in space. We doing that. We rocking with dragons. We doing all of that. We flying on dragons. We helping dragons. We're doing all the things that everybody else do, right? We just not mentioning. We just not bringing it up. But we're representing our culture in a positive way, showing that we deal with these same things. We like these same things. We want our fantasy characters to be a part of these same things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because that's what I'm doing. I just trying to make sure I was doing it right.
No. But then there's the other side. For me, on a fantasy, if I'm on a fantastical side, on a comic space horror side, for me, I'm not making a story where, okay, Black people, race issues, I can't do nothing about it. This is fantasy. Like I can make it to where this Black person goes and changes this, or this happens to where we have to deal with something different. Not necessarily the slavery or the bad part, but there's other things. So, okay, if there's no racism, we still have to deal with something else. We may have to deal with being on top. We may have to deal with being the person that's a little bit better. We may have to deal with all of this. But to play this thing
we
where
still have to deal with prejudice,
and exactly. Well, even if you better, you still okay. So it's like you said. So if I write a story, Black people are in a better position. We in the top 3 like races, because it's just like with fantasy, like with World of Warcraft, Dungeons and Dragons. They got the hierarchy among the races, like the orcs, the elves, this and that. These ones live over here. It's the same thing in real life because they got it from that. They get it from real life. So if we give Black folks the top position, right? We still gonna have to deal with prejudice. We still gonna have to deal with Black folks being wild and crazy to each other, because this is what humans do. It's not specific to Black folks. You get what I'm saying? So it's a thing where, okay, we at the top, we got to deal with prejudice from the other people. We got to deal with people knowing about the stories of Black people being on the bottom. But now we got to deal with being on the top. How do Black people deal with being on the top? Do they come together with certain things? Certain things from the past are still happening. We still got wild Negroes acting fools. We still got to deal with internal issues. We still got to deal with the people we love. We still got to make sure we build it. All of these things still happen, but it can be a thing where we do away with slavery. We do away with all this other stuff with certain types of racism, right? Like to where you're on the bottom, where it's holding you down and being under a system. Like you do away with these sort of things, but we still got other issues to deal with. So for me, I think it's lazy when we do this whole, because like they did with I don't know the recent thing with Spawn, but I do know with was it Icon and Hardware? Icon and Hardware, yeah. The recent ones, they had it where like I think Hardware was trying to go back to the past and stop something with like racism or slavery or some mess, and then it's like Icon or something. It's just gonna be the same. You can't do it. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, let him go back and change it and have Black folks deal with something different. Like it's about time we deal with something different. Maybe Black folks go out and stop it, right? We stop slavery. We change up everything. And then we gotta fight. And then with that happening, some other thing pops up and it wants to come after us or something. Or we at the top, but then we still got to deal with other people coming to fight us. And then we still got to deal with our own internal strifes and issues. Because again, that's what human nature, it's not specific to Black folks. That's what humans do. That's what humans do. That's just what we're going to do. So this whole thing, so again, me creating, I'm going to be like, I'm going to take out certain things, or I'm going to flip-flop them. I'm going to turn it on its head, and then let Black folks deal with it. How you going to deal with it, Black folks? You on top. How you going to deal with it? So then we got an issue where, something I would write, I'd be like, okay, Black folks, let's say we don't get off with slavery. We don't get rid of it. I would make a story where Black folks got like reparations, right? And then we got this whole thing where we have to deal with the internal struggles that come with that. So this is like, we get reparations, and let's say it's 50 to 100 years in the future. Black folks doing better financially, we're at the top and stuff, but we still got to deal with other issues. Black women still want to deal with certain issues. Black men still want to deal with certain issues. There's still going to be people that was like, remember 100 years ago, that was like, okay, Black folks weren't like this, but then there's young people that don't remember that. So how do we deal with that? How do we deal with somebody that's like, you guys are on top now, and a good amount of Black people have made it to where they've become business owners. They've started doing things, making things happen. So how do we deal with a person that's like, my people have told stories about how you guys were on the bottom. Now you think you're better than everybody. And now they're coming at Black people and they have to figure it out. So there's no racism. Like, we can even take it out. We can even take it out and then have like one specific group of people that's like, hey, we remember y'all when y'all wasn't nothing. We can do something like that.
I love your approach though. Well, the approach that you talking about, I loved it. I love that idea.
So it's just something where in a fantasy realm, why do we have to keep being told, man, it ain't nothing you can do. It's just you're at the bottom.
So basically, what you're saying is you want your stories to show kids that they can be or do anything they imagine or want to be. Basically, they'll not have limitations on themselves. To give kids of color more hope than other comics and stuff do when dealing with like being a person of color.
But that's why I like anime, because a lot of like anime and manga, they show that no matter what difficult situation kid is in, they put their mind to it, they can overcome it and become what they like. Let's say One Piece, let's say Naruto, let's say there's so many we can name right now, but that's why I like the idea, because like we need to provide that kind of stuff for the younger generation, because we don't want them feeling like they can't do something what they put their mind to.
Yeah,
like I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Even with like Asian cultures, whether it's Chinese, Japanese, or Philippines, South Koreans, whatever the case may be, right? All like even in their stuff, their art and stuff, they talk about the stuff that how colonialism has messed them up and everything. They speak about those things, but it's also a thing where it's like we're going to tell stories where we're going to tell fantasy stories where our people came through and they're getting their get back. They're hitting these people back over the head. They're doing whatever the case may be for other cultures that messed them up. It's just not a thing where it's like, hey, we can't do nothing. They'll even go back and have it to where they'll go back in the past and make stories where the stuff didn't happen, and then they went in the future, and the future is completely different. And it's like when Marvel and everybody get a hold of this stuff, it can't keep being this thing where it's like because on Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it was the same thing. It was like Isaiah Bradley's character is mad about whatever. It's like, hey man, just be happy. There's a statue of you. Look at that. Oh man, look at these tears. It's like dude, nothing changed. You didn't, just because you still work for the Sam, you still work for the government. You still doing all sorts of stuff. They still busting you over your head. Nothing ain't changed. But then if you watch like an Asian character or a Jewish character, they're not going through all that. It's like, yo, some stuff gonna have to tangibly change. It's going to have to tangibly change, not just symbolically where, man, at least one of them did well. Like, no. We got to change all that. So that's kind of where I come from. It's either we just gonna not talk about race and just represent the culture correctly, right? We either not gonna talk about it, or we're gonna talk about it in a fantasy realm and make it different. We're gonna try to change it and have different problems to deal with, have new problems to deal with, not the same old ones that we've been dealing with forever. Let's go ahead and give black folks something different to deal with and see how they're gonna deal with it.
I love it. Yeah.
Well, speaking of like getting back like to the connection of Blade, like you said that you made Void Beast because there's more movies and stories that talk about vampires more than werewolves. So, like, what's your thought on like the fact that your character is the first black like werewolf, like kind of like main hero or main character in a like supernatural like story?
First off, is TJ the first? That's crazy. I'm thinking like as far as like black werewolf hero, I think he may be.
Yeah, I think your story is the first. Like I ain't seen no other one with the main character as a black person.
Yeah, like so, I've seen like black werewolves like on the side and they're bad guys or they're like fighting people, but I haven't seen like a full on black werewolf that's the lead character.
I can't think of it off the top of my head. I gotta say, it's your character. It's gonna have to be your character because I can't really think of no African American werewolf.
Hey, Matthew, you paving the way for that. You paving the way because, like I told you in the last discussion we had, I got a story named Nightshade, and it's about a werewolf. He's black, but he's also a leading character. But you the first one to do it, so
interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah,
I didn't want to be the first one. I'd never be the first black person to do anything. never be the first black person to do anything. So that means, Linzo, that means your story gonna do way better.
I don't know if people gonna connect with my story like they did yours. So,
but I appreciate it. All jokes aside, I appreciate it. And to answer your question, Pat, that was part of my thing with Void Beast. It was like I remember Blade and it just being amazing and everything and all this crazy stuff with the vampires. But I was like, man, where are werewolves at? There ain't no black werewolves, and they not doing all this crazy stuff. And like I said, I've always liked werewolves because they've always like I liked werewolves because they reminded me of the Hulk, and the Hulk is my favorite, if not my favorite, he's one of my favorite like American superhero characters, and it was always because he was wild, he was fighting, he would get stronger, but he was smart too. And then that whole Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde thing was part of it too. I just never really liked watching that. Like I don't like I'm not one of these old time. I would probably say like Victorian era people. Like I don't like that stuff. I don't like watching a bunch of white people from the 1700s and all that other stuff. And it just bothers me. So Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde was like from that era, and I'm just like ladies will watch it like Bridgerton and all that other stuff. I'm like, blah, ugh. I hate looking at it.
I think I heard of that where you brought up riches in.
Yeah, it's some queen stuff. But then it's always like, I don't want to look at. Here's my reasoning behind it. It's like I don't want to look at a bunch of dirty white folks in Victorian England or whatever, because it was like, y'all, there were Moors and other folks that were coming around these times showing y'all how to clean yourselves and do certain things. So y'all just gonna keep leaving that part out. So it's like, okay, whatever. But so it was a thing where it was like I'm seeing these things. I like the Hulk. I like all that. I like Blade. I'm like, well, I'd just do it with a werewolf. They got some of the same martial arts skills and stuff and crazy abilities, and we go from there. So Blade was definitely an influence on me with TJ, but it was just a thing where it's like, man, I'd like to see him fight this werewolf person, more particular.
Oh yeah,
more so mine than anything else. But yeah,
let's talk about this too, because I've been on your Facebook page, Matthew, and I've seen some of your pictures where you get, like somebody giving you a black belt or something. Like, so you're not just making comments where you daydreaming about martial arts, but you actually have experience in martial arts.
Yeah, like
I was like, my man, look at my man.
yeah, that's years. But then that's probably why that comes from me growing up. Like martial arts is a whole long thing. Like martial arts was never like, it was this fantastical thing to me. Like it was all that, but I was fighting growing up. Like I was always fighting or in some type of situation where I'm legitimately throwing hands with somebody. And I didn't know what I was doing. I was a daggone kid fighting folks. And even in my early 20s, I had a willingness, but I didn't know what I was doing. But then I got into MMA. And my reason for getting into that is like Blade movies, martial arts movies with black folks, Jim Kelly, like some of that. But my more tangible, like real life reason for doing it was like Randy Couture, from back in the day, UFC days and stuff. Randy, Matt Hughes, George St. Pierre, some of those people were like my favorite people. But Randy was one that was just, it was like, I felt like Randy was good, but he wasn't that good. And then Rich Franklin was one of my favorites too. Like there were things that I look at, I'm like, I feel like Randy is good, but he's not that good. And I was like, I can do that. And so that's when I started getting in, even though Randy was amazing. I'm not saying he was. It's just in comparison to some of the people that were around him, man, no. So I got into it, and next thing you know, I'm doing MMA fights and stuff in California, and I'm training consistently. Then I'm doing tournaments in North Carolina, and martial arts is one of the main things that's really like helped me over the years to understand where I come from, and not just martial arts, mainly the fighting part, like the actually getting hit aspects, like not I'm flexing and I can kick and I can jump around with a sword. Not that wasn't it for me. I I don't fault anybody that does that, because everybody comes to different conclusions with where they're at and what works for them. But for me, the fact that knowing that somebody's smaller than me, because I'm like 6'4", knowing somebody's smaller than me, that's 5'5", 5'6", or something, can just run circles around me. They can pick me up. They can dump me on my head. They can hit me in the mouth. They can make me bleed. All this type of stuff. Those type of things resonate with me. And then knowing that I'm not fast. I learned through martial arts that I'm not fast. Certain things I don't do. I can't move this way. I can't do certain things. I have to start and keep going.
Just to piggyback right on what you were saying about your martial arts background, me and my brother Richard, we used to practice street fighting when we were younger, so we have knowledge in that area. And like, I'm not bragging or anything, because you could probably kick my butt easily. But I took martial art classes in Farmville, North Carolina, and under a martial artist, I don't even remember his name, but he just saw me getting beat up a lot, and he was like, "Look, come join my class." And from there, I learned, and I checked out Bruce Lee books. One of his books was like, it teaches you his martial arts.
Yeah. And
I learned from that, and I'm not gonna say it was a good idea for a kid to do that, but I did it.
I mean, I did the same thing. I rented that book. Well, I checked it out at the library, and I kept it for like, I don't know. I would just go keep checking it in and out, and I had it for a while. And I read over that book and stuff too. And so yeah, it was cool. Though. It was cool.
It was actually one of the books that taught me how to do meditation and how to stretch your muscles in order to do high kicks and all that stuff. So I learned a lot from that book.
That gave me a good idea for a topic for Friday, though.
Good. But it was, yeah.
I respect you, Matthew, because I was looking at your pictures and I was like, man, so he not actually just writing about it, but he has the experience in it. So that made me feel really good.
yeah, it's definitely something that is always stuck with me. I don't do it as much anymore, because I'm kind of in and out with different places and work and stuff, and then hopefully I'll get to help some kids with the wrestling because they wanted to have a jiu-jitsu aspect, and maybe I'll try to do my own thing. Maybe I'll try to get my own stuff rolling. But it's definitely a thing where martial arts has helped, and it's helped me even with my storytelling and being able to get through certain things. Like the mindset also is it's not a wrestling mindset; it's more of a jiu-jitsu mindset, where it's like, okay, even I stay where I'm safe, and then stay where I'm safe, defend myself, and then go from there. Go whichever. If you got to sit here for a little bit, sit there for a little bit, hold on, get through it, and then make your next move. If that move don't go, get right, get back to where you safe. Think about what you're gonna do next, and keep going. Now it may take some time. You may have to go back and forth, but you'll get to where you're trying to go as long as you just take your time and defend yourself. So that's kind of the thing that even helped me with my whole comic business and stuff, because it's like it's going to all make sense. If you just got to step back, figure out what you're doing, and keep it rolling. A lot of stuff isn't as hard to me because I know that there's worse, and I'm not in a position where I'm going to die or anything like that. I've broken arms, legs, busted knees. Well, not broken legs, broke my arms, messed up knees, quads, all kind of stuff. Groin, jacked up ribs. It's just a thing where it's like, okay, you get back to it, you figure it out, and you get back to it. This whole I'm a quit, I can't do it, and I don't know that. So I just see it as I see it as weakness sometimes, and it's like I need, especially if you have something, it doesn't matter where you're at. It's like, what can you do? That's always my thing, and I learned that from fighting like somebody is on top of me, or somebody is corralling me or punching me in the face. It's like, okay, what can you do? If they ain't put you out and they ain't hurt you yet, what can you do? Okay, I can hold on. That's it. Sometimes all you can do is just hold on. Like even in life, even with your creative career, sometimes all you can do is hold on. Just take your time, draw a little bit, do whatever you got to do, write a little bit, and just hold on until you clear up what's going on in your head or what's coming at you. And so that's just how I look at it, and that's what I try to put into some of my characters too. So that's what martial arts taught me. There's more, but I ain't gonna keep just going on about it.
Yeah, everybody we got. You know, it's kind of funny because when the thing cut out ready to go, it reminded us like, hey, we got to do other stuff. But yeah, this has been a great conversation. I would say if we could do a part 2 sometime this week about Blade, because like we really touched on a lot of stuff, but we didn't really get back to that subject. But yeah, if we could do a part 2 about Blade, that'd be great.
Most definitely.
Because we were supposed to like smooth it onto like our like creations, dealing with like how it's like Blade and stuff like that, supernatural stuff. You know, black characters doing this and that. And
yeah,
making them pavement. So it definitely like touched around on a lot of that stuff. So, but there is something I do want to ask everyone before we end this. It's by the spookiest month of the year. What is a creature or entity that you wouldn't want your character to go against, or you would think like might be a little bit too much the first time around dealing with?
Wait a minute. I ain't understand that question. I'm sorry.
Oh, and I say it again. Like, what is a supernatural, like creature that you won't, you don't think your character could deal with the first time around?
Oh, that's a good question.
Does it matter? It doesn't matter what it is.
It doesn't matter what it is. It just gotta be spooky, you know.
Like something that gets me, and this is like a real life thing. Even when I used to deliver, I would deliver like medical supplies, all kind of stuff, and even when I used to deliver pizzas way back in the day. The thing that to this day, I'm not scared of many things, but the thing that scares the hell out of me, and I'm thinking about, I'm probably going to do something with this sooner or later. I'm going to do it. I got to just figure out how I'm going to do it, how I'm putting it together. It is going to sound crazy, but I wouldn't want none of my characters. I wouldn't want any of my characters to have to deal with a project hallway.
What? Really? Oh, wow. Interesting.
Like a long project hallway. It scares the hell out of me. Like I feel like there's something there that's causing this whole spooky, and I don't know what's going to happen. Like there's so many things. Like I go into a project building, or even like a regular looking apartment building, with a long hallway, and don't let the lights be flickering and stuff. I just feel like there's no way for me to get out. And if somebody's going to do something, if something comes around that corner or just comes out of one of these houses and out of one of these apartments and pokes his head out and decides to come after me, I don't have a way to really get out. And so I'm like, I have to run, but there's nowhere I can really go. And so
I get what you're saying.
That is interesting, you know.
Like that's terrifying.
You totally flipped this on his head, because I was thinking you were going to choose a creature, but that's interesting as a choice.
Like TJ could probably deal with it.
That's a short little comic right there. That's a short little horror comic.
Yeah, right exactly, there. And that's what I'm working on.
This is going to be horror.
my character is a supernatural fighter, so
yeah, it's gonna be hard
it's
for
kind
you.
of hard to say what
your
my
character basically deal with the devil, right?
yeah my at one point my character have to do a whole conversation with Satan, and because she's the daughter of God or whatever, and so it's kind of hard to say what she can't deal with. But I would say at a young age, she probably wouldn't be able to deal with a lot of stuff because she'd be in the transitioning part, like trying to figure out her powers and see how far she can go with her powers. I mean, cause basically when you give a person, cause my character is OP, but what makes her interesting is that she don't know all her powers at a young age. So it's a limit to what she can do because she don't understand everything she can do. So that's a hard one for me. But I guess I would say dealing with demons is probably her hardest thing to deal with because she used to be an angel and she don't remember all her abilities when she was in heaven. So on earth, she's just a little girl. So I would say demons.
You know, since you're going to that extreme, I was gonna go with the riding hag with mine, because one, you can't read, you know, unless you're someone that deals with the supernatural, with God or something, you can't really defend yourself from the riding hag, because it attacks you when you sleep. But instead of choosing that, I will choose. I'm not gonna say the name of the demon, but the demon that represents flies, which deal with greed and stuff like that.
That's one of the most powerful demons, man.
Yeah. Oh, why you
Azabon something.
But yeah, I choose him. Because of like my character deal with greed and stuff so much, huh?
He's also called the eater of children.
Yeah. But mostly it never goes well when people use that demon in stories. Like no matter how well they try to get around it. But that'd be my choice where I wouldn't want my character to go like deal with.
No, you chose a real bad one there.
hey, bro.
I just said demons. Like you went full. Wow. Even I have hesitation saying his name because a lot of movies that they use him in, most of the people go insane after the movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they give them warnings like you don't even want to. You don't even want to provoke this the whole. I don't know this one movie I watched with him in it, and it was dealing with a dude trying to film. He's like, all right, I want to prove that the afterlife or demons is not real
or something like that.
Huh?
It's called the Exorcism of Michael or something like that.
Was it? I thought it was something else. That might be the name.
I mean, they did that movie so good, it scared me. But
oh yeah, that was a freaky movie, yeah. But I wanted to end it with something spooky, like to leave listeners. You know, since this is October, you know, I'm probably gonna do more every time the rest of our meetups for the podcast, as long as this month lasts. So, with that saying, I appreciate y'all guys for being able to show up.
Most definitely.
Yeah, right.
And is there any updates that y'all want to share before we leave?
SableCon, come through. If you're in the Milwaukee area, come through. I'm having SableCon October 28th in Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Come through if you can.
Oh, awesome. I would say I'm almost done with my first episode for my book. Divine Grace, the disciple. I'm almost done with the pages, and I'm gonna publish them. Make them the first episode. I'm gonna make free for the public to read, but from that point on, the rest of it, I'm gonna make it paid one.
And I have finished my sample comment, so I might start it as a ebook. I'm not sure. I gotta figure that out. You know, since I can't just like jump on Kickstarter. That'd be crazy. I only got many people like that know. So I don't know if I might like look into Amazon or whatnot, but my sample comment is done. And let's not forget, let's celebrate a big achievement. Where's your billboard, Matt? What city is your billboard in?
Oh, it's out here in Milwaukee.
Yeah, if y'all out in Milwaukee and y'all come across it, you know, just give it a shout out that y'all seen it.
Yeah.
Take a selfie. Take a selfie and then send it to Matthew, okay?
Yeah, I know how that'd be cool though. I appreciate that if that happened. But yeah, it's out here in Milwaukee. It's a big old SaberCon billboard. So we doing what we can out here to make it happen.
It definitely is, man. Man, that's great.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Peace out, y'all.
This has been Richard, Linzo Brown, Matthew Jones, and this is Journey to the Story signing out. Peace.
Peace.